Hi, today I want to show you my updated the fastest Baratheon list. I have only changed 2 or 3 units, but I still think it's worth to look at. So this list is, in my opinion, very great because it has very high speed, high mobility, high flexibility. It has actually very great resilience still, so it's not squishy, and it still has great damage. So let's dive into the units. So the first unit is a very unique and special unit. It's the Rainbow Guard of Renly Baratheon, and it's immensely powerful in my opinion. So there's a couple of things we have to talk about. First of all, the first thing you have to keep in mind, this unit is only 6 points, which is very cheap for what it does in my opinion. Okay, it has a couple of unique points. First, it has to include Renly Baratheon, King in the South, as your commander, and he has to be in this unit. Makes sense, of course. Renly has to be in his own guard. It kinda costs you a little bit of flexibility. So, second one is this unit only has 8 wounds instead of the normal 12. But I think it's not too bad. They can protect those wounds very, very good. Okay, let's look at the stats. They have medium movement. Then look at the weapons. It has always 7 dice, hitting on a 2+. This is just fantastic and immensely powerful. Then you can see it has 3 up armor, it's very good. 4 up morale, which is fantastic. Then you see resilience order, meaning they can really protect their wounds. 3 up armor and resilience order, you will not get too much damage at all. Then Rally Cry, each time this unit is performing a melee attack before rolling the dice, you heal one friendly unit in long range by 2. So this is in my opinion really powerful, especially with the Rose Knights nearby, which we'll talk about later. Then Renly Baratheon's abilities. So Swift Strike, probably my favorite ability in the whole game. After you complete your attack, you can perform one retreat, which just means they are extremely flexible. You can just hit and retreat, go into a better position, try to fall in your opponent's flank, maybe go back on an objective marker or go to the side on an objective marker. And it's also a great defense ability because what you really don't want with, especially with a unit that has resilience, that enemy units start to pile onto this because you have the resilience order only once, and if your opponent starts piling on your front, in your side, then you can really feel the damage, and then even with a 3 up armor your wounds can be gone very quickly. This means you can strike your opponent and retreat and usually make it that he cannot just pile onto you. It's just a great ability. It's great defensively, it's great with movement. Many people don't know how to deal with this. In my opinion, one of the best in the game. Then Claims to the Kingdom. Basically, each time you target this unit with ability, you always count as having crown or letters, which is really, really nice for some of the Baratheon cards. And then what they also have is the so-called Baratheon banners. The King's Guard starts with 4 Baratheon banners, and each time they activate, you can spend up to 4. So you could spend all 4 in one turn, or you can save them up for following abilities. First of all, their attacks gain critical blow and sundering. This is already one of the best abilities. You have 7 hits, hitting on a 2 with sundering and critical blow on top. This is fantastic. The second one, this turn, this unit attack against Vicious, and the defender would get 1 wound if they fail their panic test. It's very situational. I don't use it too often. Third one, if you perform an attack, opponent becomes panicked and weakened, especially weakened pretty strong if you have a hard-hitting opponent. If you think that your 3 up armor and resilience could not be enough, you could play this. Also pretty situational. And then the last one is fantastic again. This unit restores 2 wounds and may reroll charge and retreat dice. So healing 2 wounds is usually a big deal. I have seldom taken more than 2 wounds, sometimes 3, but usually around 2 wounds when they get attacked, because again, high armor and resilience, so the ability that they just heal themselves back up is pretty great. Also, you can reroll charge. I mean, it's always great if you need a 2 up or 3 up charge and you fail that, could be very painful. Now you just reroll it. And also the retreat distance dice. Because of Swift Strike, they always can retreat after attacking, could be mighty useful. I think yeah, as I said, this is a hugely strong unit. It has great damage output because it always has 7 attack on a 2+, which usually means you hit 6 attacks usually. In a charge, 6 or 7. You can give them critical blow and sundering. They can retreat again and just, yeah, Even though they only have 8 wounds, they are just extremely tough and resilient. For 6 points, I think this is a really crazy good unit. Then let's look immediately at Renly's cards. First card, Overconfidence. It's a great card. When an enemy ends a maneuver, march, or retreat, you become vulnerable, but you charge them immediately, still in your opponent's turn. It is not a normal charge because you just generate auto hits, which I still think is fine. You give the opponents 2 hits for each rank, so the Rainbow Guard itself would give only 4 hits, but like let's say a regular unit would give 6 hits. But for me, it's almost just a bonus. Okay, giving your opponents 4 to 6 hits, really nice, but then it's your turn and you can just hit your opponent regularly. So this can really stack up to have a lot of damage when your opponent didn't expect it. Especially when your opponent did a retreat or so, you just charge them back and can hit them again. And even if you don't make the charge, it still gives your unit massive mobility. Imagine your opponent ends a maneuver, let's say 10 inches away from you, so it would be a 5-up charge in your turn with the Rainbow Guard itself, or with something quicker would be a 4-up charge. Still not too nice. But this way, you can try basically to charge for free, and even if you don't make it, okay, you make a panic test, whatever, and then in your turn, you're much closer, because you still get to do the movement from the failed charge, so basically then it's an auto charge after this. So you can think like this, even if you don't give your opponent the hits, you still get to charge them next turn, especially if your opponent just did not count with this. Your opponent thought he would move far away enough that you cannot get to him, but you get to him. In my opinion, crazy good card. Okay, Knights of Summer, this card is not so nice. Basically, you target one friendly combat unit, they make a morale test. You get +1 for crown and letters. On success, your opponent has to perform a panic test. And if it's a Renly's unit, it's all enemies in short range. This can contribute some chipping damage, but I don't think it's too great. It exists. Whatever. Then Lavish Encampment, very interesting one. An enemy NCU claims a zone. After resolving that effect, you move that NCU to a different empty zone. And if it was crown or letters, one opponent makes a panic test. But I think it's really nice. It's a great control over the tactics board. If your opponent, for example, he starts the round, takes the swords, and gives a free attack, you move him afterwards away from the free attack, yourself get another free attack, and possibly, for example, block the bags so he cannot heal himself, or you block the horses so he cannot run away. Things like this. I think it's a great card. It really takes your opponent by surprise and messes with his plan. Okay, the next units I've already talked about in my other video, so I will not go too much in depth about it. Next unit is Rose Knights. It's a really great tanky unit. It's super slow, but it has great armor, great morale value, and it's extremely grindy. Why? You see the 2 abilities. Each time they perform melee attack, they heal 1, which is nice, and Deadly Bloom, each time they restore wounds, they just give one opponent they are engaged with an auto wound. So this makes them extremely grindy because you can heal your Rose Knights, let's say usually like 2, 3 or even 4 times per turn. So this means it's just let's say 2, 3 or 4 auto wounds for your opponent. So especially if he has a big tough unit with high armor, you don't care, you just give him auto wounds, you grind him away in 2 or 3 turns, and your opponent's unit dies. So this is why I, for example, said the obvious synergy. I put them next to the Rainbow Guard. The Rainbow Guard, each time they attack, they heal a friendly unit. So I heal the Rose Knights. The Rose Knights deal auto wounds 1 time, maybe 2 times if I have the swords with a free attack. Then if they hit or if they attack themselves, they restore 1 wound, give your opponent a wound, sorry, not a hit, a wound. As we see later, I have Marjorie Tyrell I can heal. I have Lord Varys I can heal, I can use the bags and heal, etc. I think you get the point. You heal them a lot, you just dish out auto wounds, you keep them healthy. Yeah, your opponent does not want to go into melee combat with this. In my opinion, great unit to just move in the middle, hold the center objective if it exists. Or if you play something like Feast for Crows, I would just move these ones onto one of the objectives and stay there. Your opponent really doesn't want to challenge them. And if not, you grind them down very bad. Okay, another great unit I've talked a little bit in depth about, the Thornwatch. Just quickly, I would look at them as a melee unit that also dabbles in ranged combat, but usually it's a melee unit. As you can see, the main point about these guys is Swift Strike again. So they have high movement, they attack your opponent, they go out again. With Regroup, they even heal when they go out, so even if they are hit, they can hit the opponent, run away, heal themselves. It's actually a pretty powerful heal. It's 2 plus 1 wound for each destroyed rank. So if you're on the last rank, you heal 4, which is pretty crazy. If you're on 2 ranks, you heal 3. So it's pretty easy to go full again with them. So even though they have 5 up armor only, they're actually extremely resilient because they just heal themselves back up. Especially with Courtney Penrose. Courtney Penrose, super great attachment. First ability order, tactical reposition. One unit can shift by 3 inch. Always great. They can use it on themselves. They can use it on a friendly unit. Might of the Throne. You can override the crown with a free charge. It's really great. Many opponents don't want the crown. It doesn't do anything for them. You just take it and get a free charge. So you can often attack 2 times with those guys per turn, which means you can also heal 2 times, and that's why I'm saying they're so resilient. If you heal 2 times with those guys per turn, it's like 4 plus the extra wounds you heal, so you can heal like 5, 6, even 7 just in one turn alone. And what they're great at, of course, because of the Swift Strike, you can just quickly try and fall into the flank of your opponents. You don't have to retreat backwards, you can retreat to the sides, threaten the sides of your opponent. Your opponent has to react and turn himself, and then probably expose the side to someone else. It's a mighty annoying unit. Yes, they don't have any keywords on their melee attack. It doesn't really matter, especially if they get to attack 2 times. It's just massive damage. They are always charging, so they always have the rerolls if it's not a disorder charge. It's just crazy amounts of damage. Really great unit. And if you want, you can also use their crossbow if it's useful. Technically, it has Sundering, so that's really nice. It's just such a flexible, good unit. I used to play 2 of these, but I exchanged one of them for the Rainbow Guard. I think that's the correct choice, but still great unit. Love to play them, of course, on the flanks where they can be fast and mobile. But and I also play them extremely just aggressively because of the Swift Strike. They are very, very forgiving. Even if I overextend, my opponent charges me. It's okay. I hit them, I escape again, and I'm okay. Because I don't only escape, I also heal. So usually you can get away with lots of things with those guys, where you can just not get away with any other unit with if you do the same thing. Last unit on the field, Riders of Highgarden, Crazy Lance Cavalry, also only 6 points. They have high movement, 6 up movement. If they charge, you have 9 dice hitting on 3s with Sundering and rerolls in the charge if it's not disordered. It's crazy. This is just crazy damage output in my opinion. As you can see, of course, if they not charge, they only have 4 dice on a 4 up, so that's not too good. Also, they are made out of paper, so they have no armor at all. So what you really don't want to do is be in any kind of prolonged combat. That's what they're really, really bad at. But if they charge, they deal massive amounts of damage. If you can charge 2 or 3 times in the game, it's just absolutely devastating for your opponent if you cannot handle. So, but what I usually do is use them to zone my enemies, because basically this has a 13-inch auto charge. So you can really zone your opponent to not, for example, run into the flank of some of your units. Zone area on the board is just really great for that, because your opponent does not want to get charged by these guys. So it's really short and sweet. Don't run in with those guys too early. I would not use them as a hammer per se, I would use them more as a scalpel. They're nice to finish off enemies. And yeah, that's basically it. Crazy movement, crazy damage. Make sure to finish off your opponent with those guys. Don't be stuck too long, because it will really hurt you. Okay, and then my LCUs. First of all, Olenna Tyrell. I don't think I have to say too much. Olenna is just too good not to take. I experience it time and time again. Basically, in case you don't know what she does, she has 2 abilities, but the more important one is If she claims a zone, you target one enemy in CU and he loses all abilities until the end of the round. It's just very strong. Many opponents base some kind of combo around their NCUs. You just turn it off. It's just extremely strong. 5 points for this NCU. Yeah, what to say? It's extremely powerful. I would always take it. It's just too good not to take. Second of all, Marjorie Tyrell, really nice when she claims the zone. One friendly combat unit of yours heals by one, and one opponent they're engaged with becomes vulnerable. Of course, big value on Rose Knights because it activates their wound ability. So you heal one, your opponent takes one wound. It's very good. It's also nice to just heal your Rainbow Guard by one, because every wound on the Rainbow Guard just counts for a lot. It's very difficult to take wounds away from them, and just refilling them, even if it's just one, is super strong. Okay, and then last one is Lord Varys. I think he's very great because he's super duper flexible. What I usually use him for most is his ability: if your opponent takes the bags away from you, you can still restore 2 wounds to a friendly unit. Again, same logic as with Marjorie, it's very great on the Rose Knights, healing 2, dealing 1 wound to your opponent, but also on the Rainbow Guard. Healing 2 wounds on the Rainbow Guard is just crazy. Taking 2 wounds of the Rainbow Guard takes a lot of effort. Just healing them back like this, super strong. I also like to use it if the opponent takes the horses, because having a friendly unit that can shift 3 inches in your opponent's turn is really strong. You can set up an unexpected charge that you would not make, or just make on a 4 or 5. Suddenly you make it on a 1 or 2. Super strong. And something that's very situational actually is the swords. If your opponent uses the swords, you can make one enemy suffer 3 hits. And what I found, this is a great tech piece, let's say, against Night's Watch if they take War Machines. Because War Machines are super annoying if they shoot you all game, but they only have 6 wounds and a 5-up armor. So if your opponent takes the swords and shoots you for free, you just give him 3 hits. And if you're a bit lucky, after 2 times, he's already dead. Sometimes it needs the 3rd time, or it actually will just prevent him from using the free attack at all. So this is a nice little tech piece, because sometimes you just cannot get to that War Machine, and with Lord Varys you can just destroy him anyway. So that's really nice. So that's it again from the list. Again, I think it's super strong. Swift Strike is such a good ability, and I have it on 2 units. You can reposition yourself a lot. It will help you a lot. It will catch your opponent off guard. Many people don't know what to do, and it just keeps you being flexible. You don't have to overcommit. You can always escape. But yeah, this list is also super resilient. Your stuff just, in many cases, just doesn't want to die. So it keeps your valuable, strong units on the board. I think it's yeah, it's a super fun list. It's a very unique list with super unique units. I really love it, and I hope you can take something away from this. And if you have any comments, please leave them down below. Thank you very much. Bye bye.